remember 2019, we had a group of refugees and asylum seekers who encamped outside the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees here in Cape Town. They were then found refuge in the Methodist Church in Greenpoint. It was these refugees who wanted to be transported to a third country, not back home. Many of them said that they wanted to be transported to countries like the US, Australia, and Canada. Since then, since 2019, about 700 people have been located at the Paint City, that's in Bellville, and also at Wingfield on Voortrekker Road. But the city announcing yesterday, Mayor Johnny Lewis saying that they're now trying to seek eviction notices for the people who are currently at Paint City and Wingfield. Joined now by the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber. Really appreciate your time, Minister. Thanks so much for joining us. Currently, what is the legal status of that several hundred people, those people who had encamped at the UN offices here in Cape Town in 2019, now in Wingfield and Paint City? What is currently their status?
Good morning, Lester. I think it's important to just point out that the tents that you're referring to really came about during the COVID pandemic, when there was an order that people would not be allowed to stay on the streets or be outside. And so that's why these facilities went up and have been costing the Department of Home Affairs an enormous amount of money to keep in place. There's, you can just imagine the costs of running these facilities, ablution, everything else that's being provided there. So that was the origin of the tents themselves. And then obviously they accommodated these foreign nationals. And as you say, it's been a long story since then. There were demands to move to Canada, originally back when they were at the UN offices. A number of them were processed through the asylum system, and those who didn't qualify were deported back to mainly the Democratic Republic of Congo. But most others got offers from the UN Refugee Agency to be repatriated or to alternatively obtain resettlement costs, so that they could integrate back into the community for those who do qualify. And they did not take up those offers. And essentially, that's been the process that's been dragging on over these past few years, and why we feel it's now necessary to take action. So what we've decided to do is quite innovative, I think, because the City of Cape Town and the Department of Home Affairs will now work together to launch a joint application. We often have issues of cooperation between different spheres of government, Lester. But in this case, I'm hoping that we can work together effectively, because really it's both the city and the Department of Home Affairs that are really suffering under this particular arrangement, and it's just one that's not sustainable anymore for the residents of these communities either.
Integration largely being turned down because of claims of xenophobia. That was the concern at the time from these refugees and asylum seekers. But in terms of the legality or the status, do you think it's a case, is it your opinion, that it's largely turning down that offer for integration into communities if you're qualified for legal status in South Africa? Is it largely because many of them still hold on hopes of being sent to another country? As you said, many of them wanted to go to Western countries. Do you think that is the case?
Yes, I think there are some of them who still believe that that's going to happen, but that's simply not how the global migration or asylum system works. And in terms of the legality of the case, of course, we know from the City of Cape Town that the courts have provided a number of important rulings recently that actually outline what some of the reasonable offers of alternative or assistance are. And we firmly believe that in this case we've more than met that threshold, because there have been numerous offers over the years, and we'll obviously be documenting them extensively as part of the court submission. In some cases, the UN Refugee Agency made offers, and in cases where people took it up, thousands of rands were paid to provide them with packs to reintegrate into the community for those who do qualify. And I mean, that same offer was made to the other residents. They did not take it up. And of course, then the other part of this coin is that we'll also look at ways to accelerate the asylum applications for those who have submitted those applications, because there is a massive backlog with processing asylum applications. And we'll see if we can accelerate that as well to make sure that that is not an issue. But I think even if you look just strictly on the eviction side of it, the occupation of these properties, the offers of alternative accommodation, the offers to assist have been many, and they've been extensive, and they've been sustained over the years. And that's all the evidence we'll be putting into the case to say that no one can claim that they have not been offered a reasonable alternative. And therefore, using those precedents that I'm referring to, there really is no alternative than to say that they should vacate these sites and reintegrate, or alternatively have their asylum applications dealt with.
Leon, what is the South African government's responsibility in terms of the international agreements on refugees and asylum seekers? Repatriation to a home country may not be possible because civil conflict, economic depression, but at the same time, we have no other country willing to accept. At the same time, we consider also the fiscal drain on maintaining settlements for refugees and asylum seekers. But what is, in terms of South Africa's responsibility with our signed agreements? Where do we stand legally on what we need to do to support people who are refugees or asylum seekers?
Well, I mean, I think as everything with this Department of Home Affairs, we need to differentiate, and that's also what our international agreements require of us. When people come to South Africa without legitimate claims for asylum, when those applications are processed, and if they do not come from not only a country that's conflict-ridden, but a region that's conflict-ridden, that's how specific some of these things are, then they do not qualify for asylum, and they are expected to repatriate back to their country of origin. However, if they do qualify, then South Africa has obligations to meet under these international conventions, and most importantly, under our own constitution. And we've seen a number of important court cases that has emphasized that South Africa does have these responsibilities, and we have no intention of shirking them. Where there are legitimate claims, we need to abide by what our constitution expects. But the important thing, Lester, is when these type of cases are processed and adjudicated, you have to be able to differentiate between where that assistance must be offered, and most importantly, South Africa does not have massive refugee camps or facilities to keep people separate from the community. We actually try to integrate them, and where there are legitimate asylum claims, we uphold those requirements. But the point here is that many people in this group have not had their asylum applications processed, and that needs to happen. But most importantly, they've had numerous, repeated, sustained offers of alternatives, of integration, of accommodation that they've turned down. And the most important thing for the claims that they want to go to third countries, South Africa does not decide which countries must accept refugees that have come to South Africa. It is only third countries who can make decisions about that, and quite clearly, for the past 5 years, that has not materialized, and it's not going to happen. So we deal with this case now. We cannot expect to sacrifice the rule of law and allow these ongoing occupations when we've clearly done everything in our power to assist these individuals.
Home Affairs Minister Dr. Leon Schreiber, really appreciate your time.